Good morning, Susie. I'm so excited to have you on Opportunity Knocks today. And I'm so grateful that you said yes. And that's my motto for the year, except for in French, oui. And so I
Oh,
wanted
thank
to
you.
have you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. But before that, I wanted to let everybody know what Opportunity Knocks is about. So, Opportunity Knocks started in early COVID times, and it was really meant to provide opportunities and perspective to women to allow them to know that how they can create, take, evaluate different opportunities. And I know that you've had several transitions in your career, as I have as well. And so I really love to actually have our viewers learn more about your background and what you have been doing in recent years.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show, Michelle. And I definitely want the t-shirt that says we, because it's strange. My 2021 goal too is to get back to yes, because
Ah,
I had to say no a lot in 2020. So now I'm back on yes.
it's funny.
Um,
We're in sync there because that
I
was
know
actually my thought process.
that's so interesting.
It's
Okay.
Claire V, by the way. It's a hat. I'm going to get it for you.
Okay. So again, I'll try to like tell my story in the most simplest terms. I had always wanted to be in fashion growing up, and I had the great fortune of getting into the magazine industry when I was very young. So I worked at Vogue in 1990, yeah, 90 to 93, right when they were having their 100-year anniversary, and it was all very grand. And then I went to Elle Marie Claire and I landed at Glamour for about 14 and a half years, where I did the Glamour do's and don'ts. I was their television spokesperson on Good Morning America, Oprah, Today, GMA, and basically was on the air every day. Um, Starting in 1996, we did a lot
Wow.
of TV where they just would follow me on shoots, or I would go cover the red carpet, or I would cover the collections in Europe. And it was amazing. I loved it.
Hmm.
And when my husband had always had this fantasy about living in Los Angeles. And when I was here for the Oscars, as a joke, I said it would be really cool to live in LA. It's so beautiful there. The kids were running free, and we had 3 boys at the time. And he had always wanted that. And someone called him 2 weeks later and said there was an opportunity there. And that's what he dared me to basically leave my dream job
Wow.
and move to Los Angeles. And I was like, you know what? Okay. Someone in my office had said to me, don't do what I did, which is the same thing over and over again for 20 years. And I knew I was never going to leave Glamour because I loved it. And this opportunity came. So I left Glamour, moved out here, helped my husband get his footing, and then started working again. And stress, very similar to your story,
Hmm.
um, really got the best of me
Hmm.
because traveling between New York and Los Angeles with 3 kids
Very
and
hard.
no people here that I really even knew to help me caused me stress. And my
Mm.
mother-in-law taught me a 3-minute meditation that changed my life. And I had an aha moment when that happened.
That's interesting that it was your mother-in-law because it was the same for me.
Oh, wow.
That's how I entered wellness was because of my mother-in-law.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she was a psychotherapist. She did this 3-minute exercise. I went from completely stressed to totally calm in 3 minutes. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. And when I came back to try to do that again, there was no place to do that. It was all very complicated. There were long programs at the time. There were no drop-in meditation studios. It didn't
Exactly.
exist. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I should just quit fashion and open up a drop-in meditation studio like the Dry Bar.
Hmm.
And then I went, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that. I am going to literally quit fashion. I'm going to open up the Dry Bar of meditation. People can come in and out like,
Oh my God, I love it.
like those Dr. Seuss Star Belly, that
Yeah. No,
book.
no, for
I
sure.
wanted
Yeah.
it to be like the Star Bellies where they walk in stressed and they come out calm in 30
Mm.
minutes. And so
And
I
it wasn't a
started,
spa. It was actually tools,
yes,
versus like, back in that day, because I remember we would all like, if you're stressed out, you go to the spa for the day, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I decided, okay, what do I need to make this happen? I need the best teachers in the entire world. I need a really chic space that feels clean and elegant. I need to figure out what meditation actually is and start learning and meeting these people. So I jumped in feet first and I literally immersed myself into this world that I had always been interested in. Like in college, I was very spiritual. Growing up, I was always into like astral projections, float tanks, psychics. I loved that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I got into fashion, I completely forgot about all of it and just put it on the back burner. And now I was starting to do what I was doing on my weekends, what I was doing on the side, like getting into the whole metaphysical world. And I was juiced.
Yeah.
And I still am. And so I opened up Unplug, which was the world's first drop-in meditation studio. And then we launched the Unplug Meditation App, which was actually founded because one of our clients who worked at ESPN never wanted to leave the studio.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
like,
amazing.
can you just record some of the teachers? I'll help you. I'm like, let's try. He wanted me to live stream and record.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah, 2017. And I was like, I don't want to live stream. It's going to take away the vibe. And now
instead of actually having ESPN in the background as a guy, he has meditation playing.
Yeah. His name was Yaron and he helped me a lot. And so, so we just like launched the app, then the book, then now we're live streaming. So it's been all like just a progression of doing more and more of what I love.
So is that within 10-year time frame, or how many years are we talking?
I opened up the studio in 2014. So
okay.
6 years.
Wow. Okay. And so in those 6 years, do you feel that, I mean, is it like yesterday, or is it like, oh my gosh, 6 years is more like 16 years?
It's been a journey and it's been a growth. So I don't feel like it was yesterday. Because we've come so far from where we were in the beginning, where we didn't know what we were doing and we were learning things as we go along. And now I'm like, working with developers, working with, I went to Apple and I met with all the Apple people. Like, it's just been like, I went from wanting to bliss out into a room, no phones, give me your phone and we're unplugging, to now we're a tech company. So it's been a lot. It's been a big shift.
Yeah. So how do you keep grounded? So it's interesting because I think about this a lot. So, when I launched Empower, again, it is all about alignment with your values and, staying grounded and going for what you want and all those things. How do you do that, in your business? Because the reality, and obviously the short answer is meditation, but really like it must be a consistent looking at yourself, because once you get into tech, there's a lot of different variations, right? So tell me.
There's a couple things. One is I practice presence, and being present is honestly the secret sauce. So the world could be crashing around me, but I'm here with you 100% right now.
I hear you.
And when I do that, I move forward. When my mind is not in my body and I'm thinking about the future or thinking about the past, nothing's getting done. But when I fully embrace the present moment, I feel grounded, I feel centered, and I feel incredible. So I wake up every day. And I actually have a ritual now where I wake up, I meditate on the Unplug app. So right now I'm doing the Fresh Start Meditation Challenge, where every day I know exactly what meditation I'm doing because I'm going through this challenge. So today was manifesting a successful outcome. It was fantastic, by Camilla Sacred Dollar App, who I love. And I've done that meditation several times and it never gets old. So I did that one first thing, and that put me in a great mood when I woke up. Then I had this thing called Shakeology by Beachbody On Demand.
I love Shakeology.
I don't sell it. I'm not like selling Shakeology at all. And the truth is, and I was telling my mom about this, I have no idea why it is. Like, of course, they say all these great things are inside of it, but when I drink it, I feel good. My brain feels clear. I feel focused. I feel good.
Yeah.
And then I do this workout with this woman who I
Mhm.
love named Cara Stubbs, who is a total mess from UK, who Camilla turned me on to actually. And
I
she's
love
on
that.
Facebook. You should check her out.
I'm going to check her out. Kara Stubbs.
She used to be a professional dancer, then she got fat, then she got thin, and now she's just strong and fit, and she cracks me up. And it's a 15-minute workout.
Oh, I love
So I
that.
do a 10-minute meditation.
Very accessible.
Yeah, 10-minute meditation, 15-minute workout, drink a Shakeology, come to the office, and then, yeah, that's how I stay grounded and focused.
I like that. So what would be one thing that you couldn't live with of that routine or structure in the day?
Without meditation, like I need to meditate. Meditation for me is my anchor. I need that anchor every morning to remind me of my to-be list. How do I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world?
I love that. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about what was it like going from this crazy glamour world,
Mhm.
essentially, into the world of being?
I feel like it's the same thing,
Mm,
Michelle, because what I loved about fashion was that it was constantly changing and it
mhm,
felt new every single day. And
mhm,
that's what meditation feels like for me. I'm meeting all these incredible stars
mhm.
of like David
They're
G,
their own version of
Camilla,
yeah.
Diego, Shayna,
Mhm,
like they're so, these people are just incredible and they take me to new heights. So
mhm.
to me, there's a newness there, whether it's marred in an ancient tradition or not. It feels like I'm discovering different aspects of myself every single day with them. So I also feel like, with tech, we're now live streaming every single
Mhm.
day. We
Yeah.
live stream 6 classes a day on Unplug Live, or we're on the Unplug app, which we just relaunched for the 4th time,
Wow.
redesigned and launched. And that allows us to connect with, hundreds and thousands of people around the world. Like I was
Mhm.
talking to a woman from Pakistan this morning who loves the app,
That's
and she
amazing.
asked if she could meet me. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you. So 7 minutes with a woman from Pakistan who now is like sharing the Unplug Friends app with all of her friends in Pakistan. And it's changed her life. So like for me, it's just so fulfilling, so rewarding, so exciting. And I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
So like for instance, if I'm suffering from lack of motivation, I
Mhm.
can be like, okay, who's the best motivational teacher? Let me get them to hypnotize me. Okay, can we
Yeah.
do like a hypnosis with you? So that's like, it's just, I love it.
So tell me, the premise of Unplug doesn't have movement, only meditation.
Mhm.
So unlike, what would you say your biggest like differentiation, like when you launched versus some of the other guys that have been out there, like Headspace or Calm or Insight Timer?
Okay, so like I like to say it like this, like we go to Uber when we need a ride,
Mhm.
right? We go to Postmates when we need food, and we come to Unplug when we need to meditate.
Mhm.
What we do differently than the two people that you mentioned, Headspace and Calm, which are incredible apps, is first of all, we're video based.
Mm.
So you're connecting with the teacher as if you're having that personal experience. And you know the voice that's going into your head because we come to it with a point of view.
Mhm.
So we don't just, I'm not saying that they do, Andy's brilliant and Calm, I think is really does what they do really well. But what we do differently is we're not just mindfulness.
Mhm.
We're hypnosis, we're guided imagery, you know, we're NLP, we're, so much
Mhm.
chakras and weight
Enneagram.
loss. And we do everything that I feel I need in my life.
Mhm.
So this is pretty much designed for the person who doesn't really want to meditate, but knows that they need it because they're so hyped up or
Mhm.
working so hard or stressed or can't sleep. And they want something short, powerful that they can trust.
Mhm.
And we curate, edit, and film every single one of the things that are aired in our app from our studio live in Los Angeles. So it's almost like it's for people who are kind of like looking for something that's modern,
Mhm.
simple, short, powerful, and feels relevant today.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more accessible. Like it's almost like it's easier online shopping. Does that make sense?
Well, it's kind of like I think a lot of people want to just say, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want someone to just say, okay, you can't sleep, go to the App Store, download the Unplug app, go to Amy Budden's Meditation for Deep Sleep, click that button, call me in the morning.
Mhm.
That's what it's supposed to be. You have a problem, we want to be able to solve it. So, like, for instance, we had a client who was suffering because she had just gone through a divorce. Her husband left her. She was so upset. And she's like, can you just make a meditation for divorce? I'm like, yes. So
Mhm.
I call up Heather Hayward, who I know you
Yeah,
know.
totally.
And Heather's like, I've been married 3 times. So what level of divorce are they going through? She's
Yeah.
like, my husbands.
Oh my God,
I love
that's
what
so
you said.
funny.
My
That's such a
husband,
great,
my
that's such a
3 husbands.
great term.
And she's like, okay, where is this woman? I'm like, she's in this stage. And she's like, okay. So we literally made a video specifically for her. So now I know you are suffering from upsetness with divorce. Click this button by Heather, boom, and you will feel better. So that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. And I say trying because I'm being modest, but I
Well,
have
you are achieving it.
we are achieving it. Like
Yeah.
people come to us to help them with their problems.
Mhm.
We give them the plan
Mhm.
and we guide them in the right direction. We are not the solution. They have to click the button.
Well, and I think the reality is that as we know, in any change, it's the person, right? So they
Mhm.
could listen to all the meditations in the world, but unless they're applying it, it's not going to work. But you give them the most amazing tools and talent, by the way, to make them manifest that. And
Yes.
by the way, so much cheaper than going to therapy.
Yes. And I want to go back to what you just said because I really appreciate that, Michelle. That's another thing that differentiates us from all other meditation apps is the talent.
Mhm.
Because I am a seeker, just like you.
Mhm.
Like I love this. So I want to meditate with the best teachers. So I'm literally handpicking each of these teachers
Mhm.
to be on this platform so that I can actually meditate with them.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and I think, I mean, that's the beautiful part is that you haven't pawned that off on somebody else who could work with you. That you're saying, "Oh, you find the talent," right? Like an
Mhm.
entertainment company, by the way.
Right.
But you're saying, "I need to feel that you have the integrity of what I want to experience because it's my name. Unplug is
Right.
me."
Well, and I'm in the room with them. And
Mhm.
I'm media training them because in my last job, as I mentioned, I was on television a lot. So here are these people who did not know when I first met them. They were so uncomfortable in front of the camera. They were so like, they'd never done anything like this before.
Mhm.
So we like help them be able to share their message simply. Because
Mhm.
the problem is when you're studying this stuff, as you know, you're a trained, certified life coach, you're a certified meditation instructor, you're a certified yoga instructor. There's so much out there. You could be quoting the Bhagavad Gita up the wazoo, but nobody cares. Like
Yeah.
they don't want to know
They're
about the
like, "What's Bhagavad Gita?"
they're, they have vocabs. They just want to know, does this work?
Yes.
And will it work for me? And so we had to kind of get through all of that stuff to just say, you don't need all that.
Mhm.
Strip the onion and get to the core.
Exactly. So tell me something.
Mhm.
So because this is about, taking opportunities and having women really understand that there's opportunities for them right now in
Mhm.
this moment,
Mhm.
what would you say to a woman who is currently seeking
Mhm.
uh, and doesn't have the mindset to believe that they can manifest or can accomplish?
Okay, well, of course, like I'm gonna, and I don't want to sound like a seller. So I almost hate saying this, but honestly,
But you're not
if
a
you
seller.
want to
We already
see,
established
I'm
that.
a sharer. If you want to see your life's purpose, I would click Johnny O'Callahan's My Ideal Life meditation,
Okay.
where he basically guides you into this, like it's almost like a hypnosis. So you get guided into a movie theater, and there on the big screen
Wow.
is your ideal life playing, and then you merge with it.
That's amazing.
And I have to tell you, like, my ideal life when I did that meditation was not what I thought my ideal life was going to be.
Were you on an island?
Entertaining. I look like Jackie O. I never entertained. I never did any of that. And now I'm actually doing more of that.
Mm.
And it feels great. Like you're able to see it. And I always say you got to see it to be it. You got to have vision. You also, I would say to the woman who's seeking, find someone that you're inspired by that you can model yourself after. Like, I don't really love to quote Arnold Schwarzenegger because,
Because, I mean,
who
why
knows, he could be correct.
women and Arnold? I'm not sure, but it's
But,
okay.
but
Maybe
I
Maria.
was listening to something that he said, and I found a lot of value in it. And this is what he said. Before he became a bodybuilder, he was living in Austria. And he basically saw this guy on the cover of a magazine, and he kind of started researching his life. And the guy lived in America and was making millions of dollars, and he was Mr. Universe. And he was living in a farm town in Austria. And he's like, I know what I want to do. I want to be that guy. I want to be Mr. Universe. I want to be in movies, and I want to move to America. So he would went to America, he went to Gold's Gym, and he would be working out for 5 hours a day. And people were like, why are you working out for 5 hours a day? And he said, I want to be this guy.
Mhm.
And it turns out he became this guy.
Mhm. Well, yeah, exactly. It's creating the vision and then living the vision,
We're
right?
modeling
Modeling.
after someone. I've never done that. So this is something new that I'm learning, but I've never modeled myself after someone else who's done something. But if you want to do something, like you see someone who inspires you and you want to be like them, you need to look at what they're doing and start modeling that in your own life.
Well, you need to live it, but it's not unlike apprenticing. Does that make sense? Like,
Mhm.
when you're a young gal in the corporate world or wherever it is that you're seeking to work in, you see that woman at the top or wherever they are, mid management, whatever, and it's, do you want to emulate that? Is that what you want, right?
Mhm.
And I think it's funny that you bring that up, because when I became a coach, um, it's still a rather fragmented market, right? There you have
Mhm.
your executive coaches, or you have the woo-woo coaches, and then there's the people in the middle, but it's rather fragmented.
Mhm.
So my intention, because of coming from structured environments that were dynamic and changing, but like, was to work and apprentice with someone that I could help do well. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It's funny because people would always say, why don't you want to be number one? And I was like, I like being number two. Like,
My
I'm
husband's like
number
that too.
two's good. Number one's a lot of pressure.
Right.
But the funny thing is that I see why the modeling of the behavior, or having that visual of somebody that I agree. Like, I've never wanted to be someone else. That's not my
Mhm.
personality.
Right.
But more like visually, sequentially seeing the steps,
Mhm.
perhaps, and learning it that way. Who knows what Arnold was thinking? But
Right. And also, I think it's important to take action. You
uh,
know, a lot of people, especially in this world, will say manifest, 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 and then they're not doing anything.
mhm,
But the truth is, this is what they say in the fitness industry, is that it's 0% manifestation and 100% the work to get a
exactly.
good body. And it's true in the same way. Yes, when we visualize things, we can then see the steps that we need to take to merge with that vision of what we want to be our ideal life.
Yeah.
So I'm a manifester also.
Mhm.
But what I've learned in this business is I have to take steps every single day if I want to grow it.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting. A few years ago, I wrote this blog post called Hustle and Flow, Both Are Needed to Grow.
Oh,
And the thing is, yeah, well, the thing is that you're right. So many people talk about like being, but it's not going to happen unless you take action.
mhm.
And like you said, first is the clarity and the visions and establishing your values and all of that. But if you don't take action toward it and you're just watching it and hoping that it just comes to you,
Mhm.
um, that's not gonna happen. You know, I mean, it's like at the core of it, hard work will is and working is always going to be part of the process.
There's an author named Donald Miller. Have you ever heard of
Oh,
him
yeah.
before?
Mhm.
Okay. And he has this program called Business Made Simple, and I love it. I take it. It's great. And one of the things he says is fate is a terrible writer.
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right. Leave nothing to fate,
Yes.
as they say. Yeah.
I don't know what I believe. Sometimes I believe everything's fate and destiny, and other times I think, why am I doing all this stuff to land in the same place? I don't have the answers to everything. I'm the first one to admit it, which is why I say I love meditation because it helps me see where I want to go.
Mhm. Well, I think what happens often is that you know you can't control the process. That's part of it, but you know you can help guide yourself to an answer, right?
Right.
And then it's what you do with those steps afterwards that will bring you whatever joy it is that you're looking for or whatever the outcome that you might be looking for. So my other question for you is, you know, what would you say, you know, were the thoughts that went through your head during the time of COVID, like when it hit? Like, you know, you had two studios at the time,
Mhm.
and I think you have one now. I'm not
Yes.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And how did you go about handling those challenges? Because everybody had challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that happened was I remember that one of my front deskers came in
Mhm.
before everybody was told they had to close. And she looked like she had a cold. And I was like, are you kidding me? You can't come in here. And I'm like, if I can't even get the people who work here to not show up with COVID, then how can I expect to keep everybody safe? So that's when I closed my doors, which was on, I think it was like March 14th. And then I decided immediately I was going to start Zooming. I didn't even know what Zoom was, but I'm like, we're live streaming tomorrow. Don't worry. I called everybody. I'm like, stick with us. I promise you, we will be up and running live streaming tomorrow.
Wow.
And we figured it out. We ended up live streaming from both studios, which was so silly. So we
Mhm.
had one studio doing an eight classes a day and the other studio doing 8 classes a day. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Let's just like merge both studios into one.
Yeah.
So we merged both studios into one. Then we were still paying for rent at both places. And actually, as much as I loved West Hollywood and as beautiful as it was,
Beautiful studio.
West Hollywood was always such a challenge for me because we were above this store called The Real Real,
Oh yeah.
and they were playing techno music and nonstop. And even though we would say turn it down, it was a constant battle with them to have them turn down the music, which was unfair to them, but it was also unfair to us.
Yeah.
So we'd almost turn that studio fully into a sound bath studio where
Mhm.
we're just doing sound baths every single class. And then we were layering the music to mask their music. So I was like, you know what? This is something we probably should have done prior to COVID. And
Exactly.
when we closed it, it was very sad because I loved all the clients there, but I was able to keep the teachers and bring them over to this studio virtually. But
Mhm.
then slowly we started kind of paring everything down. And it was like the ones who had the biggest followings won.
Mhm.
And that's who made it into this studio that's live streaming now. So that happened. I was more, as I'm speaking to you now, Michelle, I'm realizing like I took little time feeling sorry for myself and worrying about what I was going to do and more time actually doing it.
Mhm. And
Like
it
I
sounds
still,
like you were also worried about others in some ways, like
yeah,
keeping your keeping everyone moving and working. Like you
Yeah.
have responsibility toward, your team.
Yeah,
So
I kept the staff on both studios on for a really long time. And then I kept all the teachers on for a really long time. And then I realized like the great teachers from West Hollywood, I put on the app, on the Unplug app, and the great teachers from Santa Monica as well. And then whoever's live streaming were just like, the classes where we knew people would actually show up. So that's kind of how that happened.
So it sounds like because of who you are, you quickly moved into action and figured out ways to work around some of the challenges. And there wasn't a choice as to like, I don't understand this, or I'm going to stop for a moment and figure out how to work Zoom, or what's the better platform, or any of
Right.
that. It was a doer's mentality.
Yeah, I'm a worker bee doer, and I always have been. And um, I love working. I'm like you in that way, but I
Exactly.
don't stop, which is why I have to meditate, because it's the one thing that helps slow me down. Because for me, I'm for sure moving too fast. And for many people, if they had known me before, before I started meditating, they would be like, oh,
Like,
she's
welcome,
a lot.
Gary.
She's a lot. Which I have to.
Last night we were at the dinner table, and my husband's from New York, and when he gets going on something, he's like super passionate and gets like really loud even when he's not drinking. And the girls and I were talking, and like my oldest daughter's like moderating the conversation between him and I, and she's like, look, Dad, when you and I, we get into like, we get really loud and super intense. And he's like, she's intense too. I was like, I'm different intense than you are. Like,
Right.
I'm like, you are like, and I start to go like, whoa. And I said, I might be intense, like, let's be best friends, but like, not like, roar,
Right.
So it's very funny how people receive you, and how to be aware of those things, right?
Right.
Because I remember when I was in coaching school that people said, wow, when you walk into a room, you're really powerful. What time is it? Oh, boy,
Yeah.
we have to end. They were like, you're really powerful. And I was like, I am? Like, I'm so friendly. What are you talking? They're like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So anyways, well, our time has come that we need to close off this amazing time together. And I think what it just says for us to be sort of running short on time is just that we have so much to talk about with one another. And I am super grateful for the time that you have given to our viewers, and just sharing that we're all not too far from one another of what it takes to be successful, and what it takes for us to overcome challenges, and to look for the opportunities because they're there, right?
Beautifully said.
So what I would love to actually do is just have you kind of close out, and then maybe give people your information of how to log on to Unplug, and anything specific that you would like to share before we close out.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. And for those of you who are listening and you want to take any of the advice I told you, just go to the App Store, download the Unplug Meditation App. It's the blue one that says UN, and go into the library tab and start meditating. Pick a course challenge and start there.
Pick one of Susie's. I think she's got one on there.
Oh, I would definitely not do my meditation.
You actually, you
Mine are like close your eyes and then I don't talk, because I do the advanced meditation. Close your eyes, don't speak. But yeah, thank you.
All right, take care. Have a great day. We'll be in touch with each other.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.